Am I the asshole? For not wanting to name our kid after my wife's late husband. Before my wife, Anna, and I got together, she was previously married to Caleb. They were high school sweethearts, got married at 20. And when they were 23, he was hit by a drunk driver and passed. Anna and I have been together for 5 years, married for 2. We are going to have a son very soon here, and we have agreed on a first name. However, she wants his middle name to be Caleb, after her late husband. I told her I am uncomfortable with this as she is married to me now, and we should not be naming our kid after a previous partner that she had. She said that Caleb was a very large part of her life and she isn't going to budge with that middle name. She said that since our son is going to have my last name, she should be able to choose the middle name. We have come to an impasse and cannot agree with this. She is calling me insensitive and that I knew how important Caleb is to her. Am I the asshole? I don't know what to say in judgment, but kind of thrown here on how many are calling Caleb her ex. He was her late husband. They didn't divorce. She was a widow. Not the asshole. Why should a child that bears both of you have the name of a person who isn't a part of your child's life? Losing someone is always hard, but you deserve to have your child be both of you too. Not the 3 of you. Not the asshole. There's a billion baby names to choose from. There's also a billion ways for her to honor her first husband. She does not need to combine these 2 activities. As a woman who lost the love of her life, I see where she is coming from. I really do. That being said, I would never request this of my next partner. It's too big of an ask. She needs to find another way to deal with her grief. Baby names should be 100 agreed on. 2 yeses required for each name. 1 no to veto. Your wife is in a really vulnerable place right now. I suggest telling her that you understand her pain, but it's not fair to force this on you or your unborn child. I get wanting to name the baby after someone who changed your life, but that should be agreed upon by both of you or it shouldn't happen. If you asked me, grief is the worst thing we feel as humans. Try to be empathetic as possible. A loss like that is forever heavy. Stand your ground, but do so as gently, yet sternly, as you can. Nah. You both have valid feelings on the name, but 1 no from either parent should be a veto on a name. I don't think calling the LH a previous partner is quite the right phrase. It may be true, but it's not a partnership that ended by choice. It's important to be respectful of LH when you talk about him, but you do not have to name your son after him. Your son is a product of your union with your wife, not an opportunity for a memorial to LH. My middle name is my dad's late wife's name and I love it. My mom never met her obviously, but she was always a known person to me and my siblings, and we saw photos of her, and both my parents only ever spoke affectionately about her. Never felt anything weird about having her name and felt connected to her in a nice way. She's just a part of our family history to me and my siblings, and one of the many old photos of family members who had passed away before we were born. Not the asshole. This is your child too. You expressed how you felt uncomfortable about the idea, and she completely disregarded your feelings. Both parents should mutually agree, and be 100 on the same page when it comes to naming their child, because it is a very big deal. My son with my second husband is named after my late first husband, so I get why your wife wants to do this. But there's no way I would have insisted on it. I only did it because my husband was 100 on board. If he felt like you do, I would have dropped it. Not the asshole. Nah. Baby names are 2 yes decisions. That said, your wife's feelings are valid. Maybe worth talking through with therapist or neutral third party. Nah. But can we stop calling this guy her ex? He's not her ex, he's her dead husband and was a major part of her life and probably largely helped create the person she is today. Look at it as honoring that period of her life instead of that person. Or as honoring the pain she went through that brought her to you. If you're worried about what other people will say about you naming your kid after her deceased partner, just tell them, if he didn't die I wouldn't have her. Also, would his middle name be something more palatable for you? Also consider you're about to watch your wife go through the worst pain imaginable. Maybe cut her a break on the middle name. You all would be losing your sh if he wanted to use the name of his dead wife. Nah. Firstly, he's not her ex. He's her late husband. Expecting a widow to get over their late spouse is not realistic. She is not the asshole for asking. You are not the asshole for being uncomfortable. I don't think the middle name is a place to stick your heels in. Nah, I can understand your uncomfortableness, but in the same regard I can understand why this is important to her. I'm certain that she's talked to you about how important that relationship was to her, and probably the trauma and heartbreak that came along with his death. Before you got with her you probably knew what you were getting into. She can love you and still hold love in her heart for the memory of the man that passed. You're only competing with a ghost if you believe you're in competition. That said, this is your son and you're entitled to be upset about the middle name. When they met, it had only been 2 years since Caleb died. With a tragic ending of her first marriage, maybe they both need some counseling, like grief and marriage counseling. Not the asshole. Baby names are a 2 yes, 1 no decision. If one parent doesn't like a name for whatever reason, that is enough to move on from that name. It's about respecting your partner's opinion and thinking about your kid's future with that name. I can understand she's feeling sentimental. A lot of people choose a loved one's name for their kid, but the fact is it makes you uncomfortable and you are not on board. There's no way you will ever be comfortable with it, and that is not fair to you at all. She can honor her late husband in other ways besides naming your firstborn child, that has no relation to him, in his memory. Not the asshole. I think she is the insensitive one. She is acting like her love for her first husband is what really matters here, and that must be very painful for you. Children's names are 2 yes, 1 no decision process as far as I'm concerned. Not the asshole. Brother, you can't imagine the pain, discomfort and general awkwardness anytime your child gets referenced by that name. I wouldn't even want my partner to get a tattoo of her ex, but that's her choice. Her choice. This is our choice. As in both of you. This is just going to keep going down the shitter unless you completely invalidate yourself as a partner and live in the shadow of a dead guy. Not the asshole. Tell her that your first daughter will be named after your ex-girlfriend, and there will be no debating. I bet she changes her story really fast.